yoga really is a sneaky way of getting in there, and it suddenly gives us that ability to cope with the root cause.
Right.
Guys, it's Mesha. I'm here with my husband Jake. We are about to film part 5, you guys, of our mental health series. The first videos that we did, Jake, were all about like our story behind mental health, the nutrition, the supplements that have been so helpful for us.
Bilateral tones, the tappers.
The tappers, these tools, you guys, that are so fantastic for you. And today, guess what we're doing? If you guys want to see those videos, I'll link them here and I'll link them in the comments below. And today, you guys, we are going to be talking with Lisa, who is...
Love Lisa.
Yeah.
Amazing.
She is so fantastic. She has been my yoga guru for more than 10 years. She owns a yoga studio here in St. George called Be Hot Yoga. They do all sorts of things online that you can access from home that are just fantastic.
So many incredible classes.
Yeah.
So many different types of yoga.
Yeah. So you guys, she is going to walk us through why yoga is so good for your mental health. Like, how is that going to help you? How will that help you gain that mental wellness that we need?
And I love this topic. You know, anytime that I go to these yoga classes they offer, it's amazing.
Yeah.
I especially love, what's it called? The yin yoga class.
So fantastic.
For mental health and wellness, I think that's one of the best things that somebody can do. It's a completely different type of yoga that puts you in a state of just total calm, total peace, you know, and you'll walk away from there feeling better and different than any other type of class you could do.
Right.
Any other type of workout you could do.
Right, it's fantastic. So you guys, we're gonna get into more of why yoga is better than just regular exercise for your mental health. And we're gonna jump into that with Lisa right now. Okay guys, like I promised, Lisa's here with us. She's gonna walk us through why yoga is so great for our mental health. And then she's also going to show us some different poses that can help in aiding on that journey of mental health and keeping your mental health in check.
Yes, and wellness, overall wellness, yes.
Yeah. So thank you so much.
Thank you for having me, yeah, for sure. I guess really what I would like to start with is how I view the whole state of mental health and wellness and how the two go together. And I think that most people think of mental health as you know, this epidemic or this new thing, or like it's not talked about and this and that. And really, I feel like the discussion should be around what are the causes, and how do we get to a place where we can manage those, and or approach life in a way where we feel like we are able to handle what comes up. And I feel like that's really on the deep level, the cause of why we're struggling in this life, in this day and age with mental health. So,
well said.
That's where I see it coming from, and I feel like always, at least for myself, I like to get to the root. I like to get to, you know, let's pull it out from the root. Don't just pull out the top, because then it's gonna grow back, right? Pull it out from the root and let's look at it. And be like, where did this come from? And how did it get there? And so that's kind of my approach, and I feel like yoga really is a sneaky way of getting in there, and it suddenly gives us that ability to cope with the root cause.
Right.
So
for sort of continually in check with ourselves.
Yeah. So I mean, for example, pulling out just the top would be like, in my opinion, getting something to, like, some kind of prescription for anxiety, or getting some kind of, you know, something to just kind of put a Band-Aid on it. That's what I mean by just pulling out the top and not seeing what's there. What's the depth cause? And so when we're on our mat in a yoga class or wherever you are practicing, you're all of a sudden into the space of becoming present. That may not happen all at one time, especially if you've never practiced before.
The very first yoga class is not going to feel like that.
It's really not. You're going to be thinking about all different kinds of things, and hopefully you have a great instructor that kind of like guides you back to realizing that you are thinking about a million different things.
To go inside. And to stop.
And to come to a place where you're like, okay, I'm here right now, and I'm gonna use this time to just work on that.
And to work on yourself and looking inside.
Right.
I think
So
that's what I was going to say. Like, you know, I mean, and we've talked about this before, but when you go to therapy,
yes.
you're really working out your thoughts, your
Yeah.
feelings, and your actions, right?
Yes.
And yoga really isn't that much different.
Right. Because
Then-
you get to have that time with yourself, breathing,
Mm-hmm.
moving. I mean, and the other aspect, like I said, of mental health or the wellness side of that is learning how to be with yourself
Yeah.
and liking it.
Yeah.
And there, you'd be surprised how many people they do whatever they can to not
To avoid
do that and to avoid doing that.
to tune out, to zone out, to numb,
Right.
to not be.
Because honestly, it is kind of a little bit of a when you do look inside and when you do take a moment to be with yourself and be present, it can be scary.
Yeah.
It can be frightening. It can be horrifying, actually.
Especially if there's things that you
Yes.
are avoiding.
And-
I mean,
Right. But on the other side of that,
Mhm.
on the other side of getting in there and looking, like opening the lid, not just peeking in, but like looking inside, is this newfound sense of being perfectly okay with who you are
yeah.
and being unapologetically you
Yeah.
and not allowing whoever's in front of you at that time to change who you are.
Right.
And that, my friends, I believe, is really one of the root causes. It's the root
Right.
of this mental
Right.
health issue. And with social media and teens now, not just having to worry about the kids in their neighborhood or in their city. It's the whole world. And so they're trying to be something else, and maybe
Having a hard time feeling accepted.
yes.
Or accepting themselves.
Right, and maybe even seeing their mothers do that.
Yeah.
Or, I think moms in general are on social media more than husbands,
Yeah.
than dads, but I could be wrong. And so, in general, we are now facing this place where maybe we have to be like this to be accepted. Maybe we have to. No, really and truly, it starts right here with you. And when you can find, I think, the symbiosis of being okay with those two things, your mental health will just kind of feel like this. I'm good.
Right.
I'm good.
Right. And to me, like what the side of that yoga brings, I mean, there's so much that's so great, just connecting with yourself, that heart mind thing. But those messages that you are continually receiving when you're in yoga, I mean, we have been in yoga so many times when you have literally guided me through, let it go. You know what I mean? Accept yourself. Look inside. So I brought something out. I'm sure you. So Jake goes to a therapy appointment, you guys. He goes to a therapy appointment. He comes home and I ask him, we're in the kitchen, I'm cooking, and he's sitting there standing, talking to me, and I'm like, so tell me what you learned in yoga. I mean, not in yoga. That's what the conversation should be, right?
What did you learn in yoga today?
What did you learn in therapy today? What were your takeaways? And like the true Jake, in true Jake fashion, he pulls out his notes and he says, these are some things that he says. He said, anxiety is from what I can't control what I can, and influence what I can. And I go, sounds like yoga. He says, accept what I can't control. Sounds like yoga.
Yep.
Right? Always ask in the moment if there's anything I can do about it, or do I need to accept it as it is. And those are like the key points that he went through, you guys. Not just that, he went through this like long list, and every single thing I was like, that seriously sounds like my yoga class this morning.
Yeah. Yes. Exactly.
The whole idea of accepting yourself, figuring out what you have control over,
Right.
not being so uptight and crazy that
Right.
and reactive and
Right.
all that. But I love how you're tying that into that is the basis of what we have to function from.
Yes.
And what we have to function from, what we're building, is what is given us, right? The mentality that we have to fall back on when things are hard.
Well, I think when life is chaotic and when something goes wrong, if you have the ability to pull from inside how to stay calm, how to just breathe through something, and how to not react to things. Because it's really, I think it's that people are so used to reacting to life.
Well, it's built into us.
Yes.
I mean, it's just part of
And so if you can be in a place where you're observing
Yeah.
And that's what we do on our mat.
Yeah.
The whole time on your mat, every practice, you're observing your own self.
Yeah.
You're observing you.
Yeah.
And how you react to maybe a hard pose, or maybe breathing, or maybe feeling like you want to stop, you want to quit, you want to leave. There's all these things that come up for you. And they actually mimic how you deal with life.
Yeah.
So if you can recognize that and then be on your mat and just breathe through it all, guess what?
Yeah.
When it happens off your mat, you're gonna be like, okay, I'm gonna pull from that well that exists, that I've learned and I have within me. I'm gonna find a solution
And
rather than react.
more
Yes.
control over the situation. Even if it's something that you can't control.
Is it always gonna work?
Yeah.
Probably not.
Yeah.
It's probably gonna be a practice.
Yeah.
Just like on your mat is a practice. You may still find yourself being reactive, but guess what? You may not hold on to that.
Yeah.
You might react and then go later on how you can see past that, get through it, work out a solution, and move on, rather than react and being angry for a year.
Yeah.
Or react and being mad for 3 days.
Yeah.
And instead you find that there's this let it go. It's not necessarily even, don't almost like say you just let it go.
Yeah.
It's that you saw the lesson in it, and you decided to learn from it.
Yeah. You decided to do something different
Yes.
than what you were doing before.
Yes.
Yeah.
And reaction is human nature.
Yeah.
But also observing is human nature. How many times have you been at the mall or at Disneyland and people watched?
Yeah.
It's fascinating.
Yeah.
It's fascinating. And honestly, what about watching yourself?
Yeah.
What about observing yourself?
Yes. It's just hard because I think so many times people, that hurts them. And that's the part of, we need to change your self-acceptance. We need to go shopping for some new ideas. Right?
Yes,
Like
yes.
we've just got to. You've got to be able to accept that who you are. And the thing that I think is interesting between therapy and yoga, I kind of look at yoga like a support group. That they're going through it, and it's like you go to therapy over and over and over. Well, how long are you going to do that? And maybe that's just a period of your life. But yoga is something that you can adapt and always come back to, and always go, oh yeah, maybe I shouldn't react like that to my kids, or maybe I should be more gentle, or maybe where things will come up for you when you're in that space differently than if you were just doing other workouts. It's also giving you release, because yoga is a good workout.
It is.
It's going to give you a good release, a good physical release, but it's also going to take you somewhere mentally that other workouts don't take you to, and that's the point of why yoga is so great for your mental health.
It is, and I definitely feel like being able to also recognize that getting on your mat is a way for you to get back to your balance.
Yeah.
If you have those things in your life, like you have this list, okay, if I'm not feeling good today, if I'm feeling like I'm going to be reactionary, I can go for a hike, I can go for a walk, I can do yoga, I can go meditate, I can read a book, whatever it is. If you know that is available to you, and you've already cultivated that well, so to speak, of things you can, dip the bucket down into and pull out for yourself, that's also a sign of wellness, of mental wellness, is that you have those things.
And knowing when you...
Is it realistic to think in life that we're not going to have chaos, we're not going to have moments that we have to pull from? No, that's not realistic. What is the solution is having that well to pull from. And literally, if you do, your cup runneth over of things that can help you come back to balance. That's mental wellness. And the other one that I feel like we really need to touch on, because I feel like it's for women especially, is learning boundaries. Is to still be able to take care of your responsibilities and intermingle with society, but also having boundaries, say no.
To take care of yourself.
Yes.
Give yourself the time.
And that's where yoga also comes in, because you're spending that hour on the mat or hour and a half, whatever it is, and you're taking care of you. And you're putting everything else aside for that hour and a half, whether it's once a week, once a day, twice a day, every day, whatever it is, and you're saying no. And that practice actually helps you in life when you get to a point where you're overwhelmed and that mental health issue starts to come up, which it does.
When you say, no, I'm a priority.
Yes, you prioritize yourself. That's also mental wellness. And not being able to do that is, I think, a huge cause of mental health issues.
Yes.
And we just feel like in this life, again, going back to social media, we have to look this way, you have to be this way, we have to push, you know, build an empire, whatever it is. So you have to be able to say,
this
you
is
know
this
what?
time's for me.
Today, I'm just gonna do this.
Yeah.
And I think we also know and understand that when it comes to mental health, people think, well, are you sleeping enough? Are you exercising? Are you eating right? Are you meditating? And those are all great.
Yeah.
But there's still more. There's more to it. There's a wellness aspect of having these things in your life to pull from and to practice. And again, coming to a place where you recognize that you're cultivating boundaries. Those boundaries, having boundaries, personal boundaries, is an amazing sign of wellness.
Yeah.
It's not like you're pushing people away. It's not like you're saying I'm being selfish. It's so.
You're saying I have to take a minute to take care of me, so I can keep taking care of you.
Yes.
So I can keep investing in a relationship.
Yes.
You guys, whenever I show up to yoga, well, not whenever, but many times, this girl right here, she'll say, we'll be starting our yoga class, and she'll say, whatever it took for you to get here, like, good job, leave it at the door, like, come in and just be here.
Yeah.
Don't pay attention to what it took for you to get here. And I love that there's so much recognition
There is.
for that.
That's huge.
Inside the space.
It is. Sometimes it's the hardest thing to just get there.
Yeah.
And you don't know what's going on in people's lives and what they had to go through. Did they have to get a sitter? Did they have to get a ride? Did they, did they have to take time off? I have a girl that comes to my classes. She's a school teacher. She's darling. And literally on Friday mornings, sometimes Friday morning, she'll show up. I'll be like, what'd you do? And she's like, I took a sick day.
Yeah. To be there.
To be
That's
there.
how it feels when you miss your yoga class.
So she comes. If she needs it, she comes. And I feel I just give her like a high, like a little, because she's recognizing and she knows, she's like, I'm at my end, I need it. Fridays are kind of a half day here anyway, so.
Except for that it really is like, it's preventative sickness.
It is, it's preventative.
Yeah.
It's a preventative day. So
Yeah.
I love that. Whenever I see her on Friday morning, I just wink at her. Yeah, she's so cute. So anyways, I feel like covering the aspects of wellness, what is the gauge of wellness? It's not just sleeping and eating right and exercising and meditation. It's how we handle life. And I don't feel like there's any other better place to learn how to deal with life and chaos and things that you're being pulled in all these different directions than on your mat.
Yeah, when you're going within.
And that's why we always say it's a practice. It's not a yoga class or a yoga exercise. It's a yoga practice.
You're doing a lot.
And the other aspect is, yes, you might be on your mat for this hour practicing yoga, but really your real yoga practice is off your mat the other 23 hours of the day. And it's amazing that once you start your yoga practice, you don't really know that all of these things are going to come from it.
Yeah.
You don't. You start your practice like, somebody told me to do yoga, however you got to your mat. And then you start going, wow, I need to go to yoga. I'm not feeling so good today, and I felt so good after I did that. You start to see the correlation between practicing on your mat and having a great day, or practicing on your mat and then being able to sleep good.
Or be able to think through your thoughts clearly.
Yes.
Or any of that. It's like there's a point in yoga when it switches from only being physical to now you're getting and reaping the mental benefits.
Yes.
After a while.
So true.
Yeah. Okay, should we jump into poses?
Sure.
Okay, fantastic.
So these are some poses that definitely aid in finding that balance and that mental health aspect and wellness. And so first, let's start in child's pose.
Okay.
Yeah, balasana. So balasana again is a foundation pose in yoga, and it can be done a few different ways. But basically, what you're doing here is you're drowning out the outside world. If you notice, her face is down, her eyes are down. She's not looking around. She's not comparing herself to anybody else. She's just there in a childlike state. And the reason that we bring in the aspect of childlike state into our practice is that a child is always willing and is always able to be excited about the possibility of something new. It's like that enchantment where everything's taken care of and they're just excited to just be alive that day. And so that's child's pose. You can have your arms extended. Typically your glutes are right up against your heels. Your knees can be wide like Mesha's are so that she has space. Or you can have the knees together and let your belly rest on your thighs. It's just the most beautiful pose. And again, coming into that childlike state too, where again, children forgive so easily. Children are always, they move past something very quickly. They don't hold grudges. And this is the aspect we like to bring into our practice. It's the practice of being in a state of childlike forgiveness and happiness and enchantment. So nice deep breath here. You can feel and expand through the ribs and feel the back opening up and then breath out. It's really nice to relieve the low back pressure, gentle on the neck, and again, just drowning out the outside world. So, good job. That's balasana, that's child's pose. So the Sanskrit is balasana, and then child's pose is what we call it here in the West. All right, so one of the other great poses for mental health and wellness is forward fold or uttanasana. And so you're going to bend over, and you bend at the hips, and you just allow the crown of the head to hang down towards the mat. A lot of times your hamstrings and glutes are tight, so you want to bend the knees, and you can let the belly actually rest on the thighs, and that's perfectly okay. It doesn't mean you're not doing the asana. It means that you're modifying the asana for you, and it's authentic to your body. So again, the crown of the head is down. Notice that the back of the neck, there's nothing being scrunched up. She's relieving the back of the neck. You can grab opposite elbows and just kind of sway here a little bit and allow movement and breath. So again, she's gonna take a nice deep breath in and just kind of melt into that. Again, bending the knees. Yes, you can straighten the knees and elevate the hips, but if that's not available, feel free to bend the knees as much as you need to. I actually like to have people begin at the beginning of a yoga practice in the bent knee position, and then after we do it a few times, then maybe attempt to straighten the legs. So again, that is forward fold. Go ahead and come on up. How do you feel?
This is so good. Like just a minute there, it's like
everything it's like the weight of the world just falls off your shoulders. Literally.
Yeah.
You're just allowing everything to fall off the shoulders.
And then you're more light.
Yes, yeah. So then the next asana would be inversion. So in inversion, again, we're bringing the crown of the head down onto the earth. Bringing the forearms down is fine. Again, most people in their yoga practice will just begin here, and this will take a while to come to this place where you're actually in a full inversion. Mesha's been practicing a long time, so she's got this down. The longer you can stay in inversion, the better. But any inversion is great, any inversion. That means the modification of it, or just bringing the crown of the head down and working into progressing into lifting the feet off the ground. So just go ahead and slowly come down and just kind of show how you start. Yeah, so the crown of the head comes down. You're gonna make little fists here, and really it's the top of the head, usually where you have like your scrunchie or your hair pulled up, and then you're just gonna gently walk the knees in closer and lift the hips, and not might be where you begin. Notice that she's not pushing on the crown of the head, she's actually elevating it. Yeah, she's like elevating it. Yeah. So that's the longer you can stay in inversion, the better. It typically relates to seeing a different perspective and turning things upside down. And a lot of times, we do have to do that. We have to turn things upside down in our life and look at it from a different place, maybe see somebody else's perspective, and also there's understanding that comes from that, which I also think aids in the wellness of relationships and having healthy relationships with yourself and others. So it's funny that inversions were actually started by a yogi that wanted to understand his wife better. So he literally said, So I don't know if you saw her perspective right away, but it really does help you to see things differently. So, and then our final one is, of course, Shavasana, which
The pose you work for.
the
Right?
pose you work for. And sometimes we start in Shavasana for a moment, especially if maybe the yoga instructor feels like everyone kind of came in a whirlwind. And there's a lot going on in people's lives. You might want to start here for a moment on the mat. But typically we do the physical work, we do the asanas, and then we end in Shavasana, where we get to recalibrate our nervous system, our electrical system, our endocrine system, and just bring everything back into balance. So legs are extended, her shoulders are relaxed away from the ears, face is relaxed, maybe a slight smile, I don't know. Hands are open and the forearms are also open towards the ceiling. This is the open posture with the hands open, and sometimes people choose to put their hands down as a grounding posture here. A little bit more grounding, maybe some more breathing, but really what we want to do is do enough of the asanas prior to this that this is the most comfortable pose once we get here. That you've done all the work, you've balanced out your body, your shoulders, your hips, and then when you get here, you're just like, ah.
Yeah, just melt.
Yes,
And Shavasana definitely feels different at the end of your practice.
then at the beginning, for sure. And it's also a place where sometimes people fall asleep,
Yeah.
because they go into a deep state of relaxation, of ease, and their body just, like, they instantly, I've had to wake people up, and they're like, the next class is starting. And that is amazing and beautiful that you could lay on a mat, this is a mat on a hard floor,
Yeah.
and be that at ease that you fell asleep.
Yeah.
That you went into a state of just being right where you are. You weren't thinking about being somewhere else. You were perfectly 100% on your mat. And it could be in the beginning of the day, it could be at night, it could be at noon. People do that all the time. It just doze off,
Yeah.
and it's a really beautiful thing. I've had people snore before too. Like they were like fully out.
Yeah.
So,
Well, thank you so much
you're
for
welcome.
walking us through that, showing all of that. If you guys want to see more from Lisa, I'll put some links in the comments below, and you can find her. She does all sorts of instructionals,
Teacher trainings.
teacher trainings. She does where if you want to practice at home with her, then you can. So I'll leave those links in the comment section below the video. Thank you so much for coming. Yeah,
Namaste.
Okay guys, we hope that you love the tips and the things that Lisa taught us about yoga and mental health and why it's so different than any other exercise that you can do to help with your mental wellness.
So I enjoyed all the content from our mental health series. We've loved putting this together, and the things that we've talked about are really so important to us. And we know that within all these tools and resources, there's something in here that will improve your mental wellness or someone that you know. So please, share these videos with others. Be forgiving of our imperfectness as we try to figure out how to just present the right information to you. But know that these things have made a big difference for me and for our family.
Yeah, and they are just foundations and awesome knowledge for you to have. You guys, everything that I'm doing with my friend Mesha is bringing things to help lift your living, to help make enrich your life, to help you live happy and to be inspired. So I would invite you that if you want more awesome things like this, that you will subscribe and follow below, and just follow along on the journey, right?
And share those forward things on.
Yeah, it was so great. I would so appreciate that. Thank you for watching, for supporting us, and sharing this information that's a little bit tender and real and raw, and we're just really grateful to have had you along for all of the sharing. You guys, until our next video, please make sure that you do the best that you can, the things that you know how to do in taking care of yourself. And until next time, we'll see you.
See you.